After studying human versus nature conflicts in this course and through completing my final research paper on climate change, I decided to do a visual presentation for my creative representation assignment. The Canadian Arctic has been negatively impacted by the anthropogenic effects of global warming, and immediate action is needed to slow down any further melting of sea ice. As atmospheric and surface temperatures rise, freeze-thaw patterns change, creating extended periods of open water. The Canadian Arctic will become more accessible, increasing the threat of political and economic exploitation. The western Hudson's Bay region has historically been widely protected from industrialization by thick layers of ice, but extended periods of open water would allow for increased commercial shipping through the Northwest Passage. Once access is established, industrialization and natural resource extraction would follow. Open water passage and exploitation of land would also bring significant changes to habitat, survival of animal species, and heavily impact the Inuits' way of life. Throughout history, when mankind is given an opportunity to exploit new regions, the landscape in the region is permanently altered. This image demonstrates the negative effects future industrialization would have on this undeveloped region. A snapshot of what the Canadian Arctic will look like futuristically if we do not intervene and slow climate change. The upper portion of the picture depicts the clean, untouched natural beauty of this region. Vast lands of snow and ice blanket the earth. A map is strategically placed on the upper left corner to define the region. A glacier is breaking apart and falling into the ocean in the bottom left corner, demonstrating how increased atmospheric surface temperatures are changing the landscape of the region. The center portion of this image is the Northwest Passage, which is predominantly open water sparsely littered with small pieces of ice. After leaving the shipping port, a commercial ship freely passes through the area, hauling cargo from the industrialized region on the right border of my image. Plumes of smoke represent localized release of CO2 and other chemicals from the burning of fossil fuels. An Inuit standing on a block of remaining ice that harbors his igloo questions why humans are exploiting the Arctic. The answer, my friend, is capitalism, and of course, because they can. A polar bear and seal stand alone on pieces of ice, symbolizing that they are incapable of surviving without ice, as it is needed for transportation, safety, and food to ensure survival. They don't know which way to turn because there is no positive outcome in any direction. The purpose of the visual presentation is to reinforce the urgency of addressing climate change. As a society, we have an inherent responsibility to conserve and protect our environment. There have been documented naturally occurring periods of warming throughout history, but this is different. For decades, researchers have gathered scientific data validating a continual rise in atmospheric and surface temperatures, and the resulting ice melt in this region is quantifiable. Without serious intervention through reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, this will be the future landscape of the Canadian Arctic, minus the polar bears, seals, and Inuits, because they will no longer inhabit this region.